how did we get to the celebration stage? We've done the acceptance. What did that lead to?
Well, just as Dan Quayle helped lead us to acceptance because his sort of fraternity blood brother was George W. Bush, the person who was key to sort of launching the celebration phase was somebody who, we don't think about too much these days, and for good reason, but it was Sarah Palin. Yes. Wait, someone applauded, like, yeah, she was good, liked her. Whatever happened to her? Sarah Palin was a key member of the acceptance phase because, of course, she was always saying, "I'm just a hockey mom," and and she would never say she did go to college. In fact, 6 of them. She literally did. I track her whole. She was like the Carmen Sandiego of American education. She just kept on bailing, and like the registrars are saying, "Where'd you go?" But she had her debate, her vice presidential debate in 2008 with then vice presidential candidate Joe Biden. And she said at the very beginning, she said, "I may not answer all the questions that get posed to me, but I'm going to straight talk to the American people." And it's like, that was like a really new kind of step forward in the March of Ignorance, because it was actually the whole point of these debates is to find out what people know. I mean, that is really the whole idea of it. It's like, you go to the DMV and you say like, "I may not say what color my eyes are, but I'm still going to get that driver's license." She was just basically, ahead of her time, in that she was denying the importance of facts. She was saying, "I'm just going to talk straight to the American people." Now, you may wonder why I'm just dwelling on her just to beat up on Sarah Palin. It's not. It's like she's an important historical figure because she was the gateway idiot who led to Donald Trump. She had his same sort of toxic brew of ignorance and grievance, because the way she went after Obama was not like, I disagree with Obama. It was like, Obama's a terrorist. He's palling around with terrorists. It was all this kind of not so subtle racist dog whistles, which then, Donald Trump kind of really ran with, when he, brought up his whole thing about, Mexicans being rapists and murderers. And also, I'm sure some very fine people, he threw that in like at the end. But, that whole thing to me is sort of like taking Sarah Palin to the next step. It was okay, we're going to do Sarah Palin without the subtlety. Without the nuance of Sarah Palin. We're now just going to like mainline Sarah Palin right into you. And so Donald Trump, to me, is the key player in the celebration phase. Although I would say he's not quite in the paradigm as I describe it, because remember, when I was describing celebration, I said in the celebration phase, because ignorance is now being celebrated, smart politicians have to pretend to be dumb. And in Donald Trump's case, no pretense was necessary. He actually is a very well-educated man. He went to University of Pennsylvania. His parents could afford to send him to the finest college, as much as George W. Bush went to Yale and never cracked a book. He had access to information, but he's a very arrogant guy, not a good student, and not a reader. He's never read an entire book in his adult life. We only know of one book that he actually owns, besides The Art of the Deal, which, by the way, he didn't write. It was written by a guy named Tony Schwartz, who was his ghostwriter. We don't even know if Donald Trump has read The Art of the Deal. I doubt it. But the only thing we know is that his late ex-wife, Ivana, said that he had one book at his bedside, which was a collection of speeches by Adolf Hitler. I believe he's probably read some of that, because you'd see sort of an homage in some of his speeches. But Donald Trump Donald Trump falls into this category of a guy who celebrates his ignorance and will do things like, he'll stare at an eclipse without sunglasses on. He'll tell us how to cure COVID by ingesting bleach. He'll say that the British had, fighter jets in the 18th century during the Revolutionary War. All these things are true, and they're cited in the book. He called 9/11 7/11. That's true too. But he comes by his ignorance very, very honestly. It's all very sincere. Whereas there's this whole other category of people in the celebration phase who are really smart, really well educated, but are doing their best to hide it and act like idiots. And this group includes the aforementioned Ted Cruz of Princeton University fame, Ron DeSantis, who went to both Harvard and Yale, Josh Hawley, who went to Ivy League college and is in fact the fastest man on earth. He clocked in it faster than Usain Bolt on January 6th. But I mean, all these guys are well-educated, very smart guys who, and I find this more offensive, their ignorance is totally performative. They're putting on a show of being stupid. And that to me is in a way, I find that in a way morally more offensive than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump really is doing the best he can. He really is, and so, by the way, are people like, people are hard on Marjorie Taylor Greene, but again, I think she is very sincere in her stupidity. I don't think that she is making anything else. And by the way, as long as I'm defending her, I think she's been really unfairly maligned for that whole comment she made about Jewish space lasers, because I'm gonna just be honest with you guys, I am Jewish, and I am so flattered that she thinks I could operate a space laser. I mean, I was so proud of myself when I figured out how to mute myself on Zoom. I mean, and Zoom is tricky. I mean, as you know, if you try to, look, if Jeff Toobin knew how to use Zoom, he'd still be on CNN. So, it's a tough thing. But space lasers, come on. Are there any Jews here tonight? I'll bet there are a few. Our history would have been so different if we had space lasers, like when we were running away from the gazpacho. So yeah. I love Marge. I love Lauren Boebert too. She's great. Did you see her yesterday when Merrick Garland was speaking and they cut to her and she was vaping in the audience? It was so amazing. She was doing that. By the way, she and Rudy Giuliani have completely ruined groping for me. That used to be my favorite fucking activity, and now I'm over it. I guess I'm digressing a little bit, but